video is to help remind you how to round to the nearest 10, 100 and 1,000. Let's start by reminding ourselves of some of our rounding rules. When we are rounding to any number, you need to think of the two options that should be either side of the number you're focusing on. Once you've got those two numbers, you then need to look at your main number and the digit in the column on the right. You're then going to use your high five rounding rule. So if your digit is more than 5, it's going to round up. If it's less than 5, it will be rounding down. To start with, I'm going to be thinking about rounding to the nearest 10. My focus number is the number 47. I've put that number in the middle, and I'm now going to think about the two 10s that sit either side of 47. The 10 that sits below 47 is the number 40, and the 10 that sits above 47 is the number 50. So I have put those two 10s either side. I'm then going to look at the next column on the right of my 10s, which is my ones column. In my ones column, I have 7 digits. 7 is above 5, so I'm going to follow my high five rounding rule, and that number shows me that I am going to be rounding up to 50. Now let's move on to thinking about rounding to the nearest 100. We're going to do exactly the same process, only I want you to think of the hundreds that would sit either side of this number. The 100 that sits below 234 is 200, and the 100 that sits above it is 300. I'm going to look at the column on the right hand side of my hundreds. This is the tens column. In my tens column, I have 3 digits. 3 is below 5, therefore I'm going to round this number down to 200. And finally, we're going to look at rounding to the nearest 1,000. Again, follow exactly the same process and think of the two thousands that sit either side of this number. My number is 6,520. The 1,000 that sits below it is 6,000, and the 1,000 that sits above it is 7,000. I'm now going to look at the column on the right, which is the hundreds column. I have 5 hundreds. 5 follows the high five rule, which means that we are going to round up to 7,000.